All right, let's jump right in. Have you ever thought about this? What if the most important choice about your entire life, your purpose, was made for you? But not just for you, but before the world was even a thing. It's a pretty wild idea, right? Well, that's the huge concept we're digging into today, drawn from a primer on the book of Ephesians. So let's get into it. I mean, just look at that phrase. It sets the stage on a truly cosmic scale. It's suggesting a plan, a purpose, that happened before time as we know it even started. It's an idea that completely challenges our normal sense of a beginning and kind of forces us to look at a much, much bigger picture. Okay, so to really wrap our minds around this, here's how we're going to break it down. First, we'll look at this choice made before time. Then, we'll unpack something called the divine initiative. After that, we'll get into the purpose of all this. We'll see what the result is for a believer, their new location, and finally, we'll connect it all back to today and ask, why should we even care about this ancient idea? So, first up, let's start at the very beginning. Actually, scratch that. We're starting before the beginning. This is where we explore that incredible cosmic decision made before anything else existed. Just let that sink in for a second. The idea here isn't that a believer's relationship with God is some kind of afterthought or a reaction. No, it's presented as the absolute starting point, a choice that was made before the universe was even formed. Well, that immediately brings up a huge question, right? If a choice was made, who made it? Who's the one driving this whole thing? And that leads us straight to our next big concept, the divine initiative. It's all about figuring out who the primary actor is in this incredible story. And the specific term for this is sovereign initiative. What it really boils down to is one central idea, that God the Father is the one in the driver's seat. He's not just reacting to stuff as it happens. He is the one who actively starts the entire plan from a totally blank slate. Here's a way to think about it. Picture an architect. But this isn't an architect who just gets hired to draw some plans. No. This architect dreams up the entire project from scratch. The very idea of it, why it should exist, where it should be, what it's made of, everything. From nothing. That kind of complete proactive ownership is the essence of sovereign initiative. Now, this brings us to a word that, let's be honest, can be kind of tricky and is debated a lot. And that word is predestination. But what's really important for our discussion here is how the source frames it. It's not so much focused on the how it all works, but on the why. What was the point of this divine blueprint in the first place? So the question is pretty simple. If believers were predestined, what for? What was the end goal? And the answer we get is actually super direct. It cuts right to the chase and focuses completely on the intended outcome. And here it is. This is the key. The purpose isn't some big, vague mystery. It's crystal clear. It's all about relationship. The whole point, the entire goal, was for a connection with God, a relationship that's specifically defined by two things: love and holiness. This is actually a really helpful distinction, because when we hear that word predestination, our minds often jump to these massive philosophical questions like, what about free will? But the focus in this text is way more specific. It's zeroing in on two things: who the actor is, that's God, and what the positive purpose is, a relationship of love and holiness. Okay, so we've got the divine initiative and we've got the purpose. So what's the end result for a person in all of this? Well, the source describes it as a total transformation, almost like moving to a brand new location. Think of it like a journey. You have a starting point. Then this divine choice happens, and it sets everything in motion. And where do you end up? You arrive at this new spiritual location, which, you guessed it, is that relationship of love and holiness. It's the final destination the whole blueprint was pointing to all along. All right. I know we've been talking about some really big cosmic level stuff. Before the world began, it's a lot to take in. So, the big question is, what does any of this actually mean for us, right here, right now? Let's bring this ancient idea right down to earth. So let's do a quick recap. We started with a divine choice, made before time. We learned this is called the sovereign initiative. We saw that its whole purpose was to forge a relationship defined by love and holiness. And the end result of all that is this new spiritual location for the believer. That's the whole flow. So why does this matter? What's the bottom line? It really comes down to a single, powerful word: purpose. What this whole framework suggests is that a believer's life and identity aren't just an accident or a random chance. Instead, they're deeply rooted in a deliberate divine plan that was put in motion before anything we know even existed. And so that leaves us with one final big question to think about. I mean, really think about this. If you genuinely believed that your ultimate purpose was designed for you personally before time even began, how would that change things? How would it change the way you look at your own life, the choices you make, and the story you're living? That's a powerful thought to leave you with.